What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are here at Lake Julian Disc Golf Course. We are looking at a little bit of a formwork idea of forehands where we are intentionally doing one thing and one thing only, and that is feeling the weight of the disc as we're throwing it. And yes, I know every time you pick up a disc, you feel the weight of the disc. But there is a way to feel the weight with a different motion that makes throwing the disc much easier. And hopefully I'll be able to explain that today. Now, before we get into the forehand, I do want to help you understand what I mean by feeling the weight of the disc. So take your disc. Today we are working with Zone SS's because not quite a zone, not quite pyro stability, but it will give us a good look at what is going wrong, if anything, with our form. So take your disc that you're going to be throwing, just hold your arm out straight and swing it. You will feel a very consistent weight on the end of your hand. Now, instead of holding your arm straight, have it straight, and then bend it as if it was in a backhand motion, and you will feel the weight in a different, it will become lighter as it comes in and heavier as it goes out as you continue to swing, becoming the most intense pressure right about here, which is really where you want your backhand form to be releasing your shot. You can use the same thing, but on a forehand, it's just harder to feel the weight because you almost have to actually throw the shot to be able to feel what it's supposed to feel like. So I'm gonna throw two different shots. The first shot is just going to be a forehand. And then the second one, I'm going to be really focusing on the rim and focusing on feeling the weight snap out of my fingers. And I think there's going to be a difference with where they end up on the fairway. And now, if I really feel the weight and I'm trying to push the weight off my fingers as I get further into that throw, really accelerating slowly until you hit that fully acceleration point, and then slowly, gradually backing off, it's going to be much easier on your joints. It's going to be much easier on your body. It's going to be much easier on your shot shaping ability. As I throw it right into a tree, of course, because, well, it's forehand and my forehand is questionable sometimes. I need to focus more on getting the weight and punching through. I did have a clean release. My aim point was just off on that. So as we move on from here, one thing that the Zone SS helps to show us is holding anhyzers with a pyro or zone. If you want it to turn over, you have to forcibly push it onto that anhyzer angle. With the Zone SS, you can just give it a little bit of angle, and as long as you're doing the right thing, it's going to hold that angle for most of its flight. I gotta set you guys down so I can find this. So as you're continuing to throw that shot, make sure you're focusing on this. Can you do this? Can you feel the weight move from front to back of your hand? That's what you're trying to do right here. We're just trying to grab the weight of the disc and throw the weight of the disc down the fairway. It's gonna be deep. Yep, on this one, feel the weight of the disc, feel the weight of that disc, and then spin through. Is that a better representation than the first hole? The discs don't weigh much compared to going out in the real world and moving items and picking up rocks and tree branches and going to the grocery store. Most things in life that you're going to pick up are going to weigh more than a disc. So why is it so difficult for us to get the concept of throwing the disc when it's super easy to get the concept of throwing an object? And I think it comes with, because we're trying to do something different. So why are we trying to do anything different? Let's just do what we already know. And you can really start to feel the difference when you take a couple of sticks. If you hold one in the middle, this will be like throwing a disc without trying to feel the weight of it. You can still do it. You can still make it work. But if you're holding the disc the right way and feeling the weight in the right way, you don't really have to move your arm because the weight is doing most of the work for you. Right? It's just you're not trying super hard, but because you're using the right body mechanics for the motion. For example, can I try to throw this without feeling the weight of the disc? I actually hit it pretty clean. Wow. Maybe I am better at forehands than I think. Now I'm going to really feel the weight of the disc, try to throw the same shot. Let's see if we get a different result. Similar result, but you want to know the difference? One of those I threw harder, and one of those I threw cleaner. And we ended up in close to the same spot with close to the same shot shape. I threw the yellow one softer. Yes, it did go a little bit less far. But it actually followed the fairway I was trying to hit instead of the second fairway over here on the left that the pink one hit. So you can do it whichever way feels comfortable or natural for you. But if you want the most ease of access, the most control without the power, and I'm talking to all the people that can barely hit 200, 300 feet with a forehand, feel the weight of that disc. And even if your elbow body mechanics aren't necessarily the best, even if your shoulder mechanics aren't necessarily the best, if you're feeling the weight of that disc, it's going to do half the job for you. And when you feel the weight of the disc, what you're doing is you're really propelling the disc on a clean, flat, comfortable release and propelling the rim forward and not just throwing the disc forward. So it's going to give you more spin, more snap, more control with way less effort. In this hole, I'm going to throw two hard shots. Both are going to be pretty firm. The first shot is going to be just a forehand. The second shot is going to be focusing on coming through on that, just the rim coming through with just the weight, letting the weight spin off my fingers. And I think the result is going to be different. I also could just be warmed up and feeling the forehand properly right now. Which, if that's the case, man, I need to throw more forehands. All right, focus on really punching that through. Possibly a little bit more of a hyzer on the release. But because we're snapping the rim through, we're giving it a little bit more snap, a little bit more spin. So we're adding a little bit more stability to it. So what you saw from the pink one, it had that really nice straight looking flex down the fairway. Whereas the yellow one flipped up to flat and then started to fade out. When you add a gyroscopic effect to the disc, the further out you get that momentum, And the faster that spin is, the more stability it's going to have in its flight path. So if you can propel that forward, more spin, more snap, less power, you have a more predictable, more controllable, but also slightly more stable flight. Which means you can start to throw straighter, more touchy, understable discs and still have reliability. And final little piece of advice I might leave you guys with is, oh boy, accelerate at a consistent rate. Don't just pow, hit your shot, because that means you're accelerating back here, and by the time you're getting to where the disc should be releasing your hand, you've got nowhere to accelerate from because you're already at your max speed. So since most people don't have a super fast arm speed, use your arm speed to your advantage and not as a hindrance to you. Work into it much slower, so swing the arm slower and keep it in a nice, comfortable, easy to manipulate position. So as you're accelerating into that final spot, then you can feel the weight and give like this. All you need is this much power. You need power for this much time in your throw. The rest of that is just slowly acceleration and slow deceleration. Slow acceleration, slow deceleration. You need power for about 8 inches to a foot during your throw. Focus on the power at the right time. It's going to make your life much easier. Hopefully you guys enjoy content like this. If so, please make sure to like the video. If you want to see new stuff, make sure to comment all of that down below. Please make sure to subscribe. It helps you guys out with these subscriber-only giveaways. And if you want to be automatically entered into monthly giveaways, check out the memberships below. Until next time, see you out on the course.